This is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. Well, it's been quite a while, hasn't it, since I made a video. Things have been pretty busy up here in Prince George. For me, it's just normal that time of year, like summertime is cabin time and fall, there's lots to do. But I've got a little bit of time and I've had a request to make a video on the Monroe Doctrine for the United States. And also, I just got a new iPhone 16 Pro and I wanted to try to make a video and just to see how good it is. Like I normally I just buy the normal version of whatever iPhone I'm getting. I've had several now, but I wanted to get the Pro because it's a huge upgrade for the camera. And like this particular one here has 48 megapixel camera. The one that I was doing before, I think it was 8 or 12 maybe. And so this should be a significant increase. Plus the zoom is like really, really high. Let's just try the zoom out here. Just indulge me for a minute before I get to the Monroe Doctrine because I want to check this out. Now I'm going to have to put this on my computer afterwards to see really how it came out. So let's just zoom in. So there's, look at it, there's 13, there's 15 times. So yeah, you can zoom right in. And it looks pretty clear on the camera. I'm yet to see how it looks on the computer. Let me try something here. Let's grab this thing here from, there we go. Let's put the Amazon in. Take a good look at that. So let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah, cool. You can't even see it all here. Let's zoom out a bit. I don't know if we need that much. Zoom out a bit so we can get it all in there. Yeah, man, that looks really good. I'm quite pleased. I use a Rode wireless ME microphone, so the microphone, the sound isn't something that I'm concerned about. But the sound on these cameras is supposed to be pretty cool too. You can have different modes, and I've watched videos on them and how it works and everything. So the microphone on this iPhone is going to be much better than what you would have seen on previous versions of the iPhone. Anyway, let's zoom out here and get back to the video. Thanks for indulging me there. Well, let's move into 2 times. There we go. 2.2 times. Okay, the US. So first let's take a look over here. So we've got some stuff in the Philippines here, and we've got stuff up there on the West Coast, as you see. And then let's move over to the East Coast. The United States doesn't start with much because they were pretty isolationist at this point in history. They had lots of money and everything, but they were using it for nation building and not for projecting power so much. They were looking inward and not outward at that point. But the Monroe Doctrine, we also have it in the 36 game. So if you've played the 36 game before, and a lot of people have, a lot more people than have played the 14 game, the Monroe Doctrine works pretty much the same way. I'm not sure that there's any difference. But basically what it means is that the United States claims the territory in North, Central, and South America as being a part of their protective zone. So they don't allow you to put boots on the ground anywhere there. Here, let me zoom out again a little bit. There we go. So that includes Canada up there, of course. It includes the Caribbean islands, all those minor powers in the Caribbean. And of course it includes South America. So they basically said, yeah, we won't get involved in your war, but if you land in the Western Hemisphere, we're coming after you. Anyway, so let me just read to you what the rule says. It says the U.S. has a special doctrine in place known as the Monroe Doctrine, which claims all of North, Central, and South America as off limits to foreign colonization, inclusive of all minor powers in the Caribbean Sea. The Monroe Doctrine allows the USA to do the following. And the first thing is the USA may attack Central Power units, including their naval units, in or bordering North, Central, or South America, regardless of its income level and without a declaration of war, avoiding the Allied declaration of war penalty. And also, this does not trigger a U.S. income increase. So if we look at the peacetime income increases, there are a few, and some of them do have to do with that. A lot of them have to do with a Central Powers Japan, but let's just assume that there isn't a Central Powers Japan for this video. And the Monroe Doctrine would work the same way, but it's the rest of the things that we're going to ignore for now, because they're not relevant to this video. So if the Central Powers attack any North, South, or Central American minor power, there's +3 IPP for each nation. So let's just look down here. Like, let's say Germany came down and they attacked Argentina. Even though there's 3 territories, it's still only one country. So the United States income would go up +3. Also, if they were to align it, so if the Germans were to align this through the diplomatic chart, then same thing, right? And then the last thing is, Central Powers have warships adjacent to any North, Central, or South American land zone at the end of their turn. Now, before we had it so that there was just that, so just automatically aligning something would have given an increase just because these guys were here. But what we've done since then, and since the release of the game, is say, okay, tell you what, if you can get away from there, or if you want to leave there, like they align this on the turn, and then on the non-combat movement they move the ships away, then you're not going to have to pay the income increase, which is +1 for each ship on the American income. You won't have to pay that if they leave. But if they decide to stay, then that's 1 for each of them. And if they're still there next turn, it's 1 for each of them. Every time a ship is there from the Central Powers that is adjacent to North, Central, or South America, or any of the Caribbean minor powers, then it's +1 on the American income. So that's breaching the doctrine. If that was to happen here, let's put these. Let's say that Germany gets this. So let's say they diplomatically align this. They didn't even go and attack it. Let's just replace everything here. There we go. Oh, those aren't Germans. Those are Argentinians. Okay. So there we go. Germany has aligned Argentina, which means that they have breached the Monroe Doctrine. Now, the Americans are allowed to go down there and attack them if they want. They don't have to, and it's depending on the situation in the game where they would do it or not. Now, it's likely that they would want to go down there and do that because, for one thing, it's worth 3 IPP, right? Plus, there's a point at the end of the game if the Central Powers don't have any territories in the Western Hemisphere here. So it's likely that they will want to do that. The reason they might not want to do that is if Germany was to just align, say, Peru, that's only worth 1, or Uruguay. I don't know why they would align that one, but if they did, that's only worth 1. So they're not giving up too much money. And you look at the time that it happens. Now, America would like to go over to Europe here and get in on the war, right? And so if you're taking the American units, you're putting them on the ships, you're taking all the ships, it's going to take you a couple turns to sail down here, then you're going to be out of position when the war starts. And it's going to take you longer to get to Europe. And in this game, even more so than in the 36 game, the Americans are getting a late start in the war. There's not much time left in the war for you to get troops over to Europe, and that's the main part of the war. So that's probably where you'll be going, unless Japan has gone Central Powers. But even then, like if Japan's not doing anything, then you probably just want to leave them alone anyway, because there's no points for the Americans over there. You know, the points that they're going to be limiting are the ones that are in Europe. Japan doesn't get any points, so you're not helping yourself win the game, unless Japan is making a nuisance of themselves and taking away the Entente's points over there on that side of the board. So you're not going to worry so much about that. What you're worried about is getting troops to Europe, and you're not going to be doing that if you're bringing all your stuff down here. Now, if this happens pretty early, like it happens in 1915 or so, then for sure you'll want to come down here and you'll want to beat the piss out of the Germans and take it back. And then probably what you'll want to do is sail your ships back up to the United States there, so that they will be in position. Like you'll leave the ground troops down there, but you won't be moving any more down there, and you probably want to move your ships back up and then just build more ground troops in the United States for you to use. That's probably what you'll want to do. And then eventually, like, you may want to just send some down to South America to clean that up if you're getting close to the war. Like if the Germans didn't align it until 1917 and you're just about in the war and you want to get those troops over to Europe, then you might want to just take a batch of troops to Europe and build yourself an expeditionary force and head down to South America as well. You got to think that the British are probably going to have a pretty big navy, and the French have a good navy. So there's not going to be a lot of transfer of units down to South America from Europe, German troops. So they're not going to be able to build up that much down there. I think they'd just be able to, because there's a factory there, they would be able to put a unit there. But they're, that's only if they take Argentina, right? And of course, the United States, they might be aligning Brazil or something, so they can use those units to attack the Argentinians. All I'm saying is you don't necessarily have to go down there. The other thing is you have to watch out for your back door here in Mexico, because Mexico, it's likely that if they align to either side, it's likely that they're going to align to Germany at some point. Unless, well, yeah, even if the side that the Americans are playing in the prequel, even if they win, then they still could align to Germany, and that could be a real problem, because I've set them up here as if you were doing a 1914 start, but you might see a lot more units there if you played in the prequel and you played the Mexican Civil War. So you got to watch that in Texas there. I've had that happen where I didn't have many guys in Texas, and all of a sudden there was a ton of Germans in Mexico. And so that can be a real problem. But anyway, like, you have to watch it if you're with the United States. And it can be difficult if you're playing with lots of players and the American player that's all he's doing is just playing America and maybe the nationalist Chinese. The guy's been sitting around all game, maybe for a day and a half, 2 days, not doing anything, just basically playing the nationalists. And because before that, all you can do is build units in the continental United States and in the sea zones adjacent to the continental United States, so here or on the West Coast, and they're not doing anything. So they could get excited, I get to do something. The Monroe Doctrine's been preached. Whether it's a good idea or not, they're just going to jump on ships and away they go. Take everybody they got down to South America and get into the game, right? And it might be a good idea, and it might not be a good idea. I can't really tell you that without knowing the particulars of what's going on in the game. This game can go in a lot of different directions. It's surprising, with how the game is kind of plotting. You know what I mean? It's not as dynamic as the 36 game. You don't have the range that you do. You don't have aircraft carriers and and airborne units and things like that. And just planes in general. The planes in this game are pretty weak. So, you're not moving as far or as fast. You're really just plodding along and taking the next territory and the next territory. But surprising how much this game can be different from game to game to game. Even though it's that plotting nature and defensive nature of this game. So anyway, that's basically the Monroe Doctrine. You can go down there and you can attack them. You can attack their ships if they're within a space. You can leave all the units down here that you brought down here. Even after they've taken them out, you can leave them here, or you can move them all back. It's up to you. One thing that you need to know though, like if you do take any territory down in South America as the Americans, like you couldn't attack them or align them before that, because your income determined actions don't allow it. But because they've breached the Monroe Doctrine, you might be taking out Argentina in this case here, where Germany had taken them first. So you'll keep track of that money, the 3 IPP that Argentina is worth, but you won't get to collect it. The only money that you'll get to collect is the money that is on the IPP chart. And then once America joins the war, then you can collect the money for territories that you've taken during the peacetime period. I guess the American peacetime period. It's not peacetime for everybody else. Everybody else is in a pretty good scrap. Anyway, so I don't think that there's like, it's really not all that complicated. So I don't think there's much more to say. I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to start making a few more videos because winter is just about here. It's pretty darn cold outside right now. I mean, it's not way below zero or anything, but it's getting below zero at night, and typically most Canadians stay indoors after that. You know, there's more time for playing games when it starts getting cold up here. So I will have more time to make videos in the next few months. So thanks for joining me today. Take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.